Good evening, gentlemen. Your briefly may now begin.
Welcome to a gentleman's briefly. I know you usually don't hear my voice when it comes to brieflies, but I'm trying to pick it up a little bit. And the topic we're speaking about today is a reason I want to hop on, and I had to bring in a guest. I had to bring in an expert. And Spenser, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain at all. So, as you've seen by the title, today we're talking about the MCU crisis. There was this big Variety article that came out, and it kind of, you know, took the sheets off, you know what I mean, uncovered some things. And so today I'm going to be talking about 12 key details that was discovered with this Variety article. Spenser has not seen any of this news, so he is receiving this news in real time. So we will discuss, get his reactions, and we'll discuss each of them. So let's hop into it. Number 12 on the list, it is Marvel Studios reconsidered the multiverse saga after Jonathan Majors' arrest. Majors' trial is forthcoming. Yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory. We've kind of touched on this a little bit, but essentially they reconsidered the entire saga. We kind of knew they were going to tweak some things, but the whole saga is crazy.
I I didn't think he got arrested. I mean, I thought there were allegations and all that, but I thought he was found not guilty. And I don't know if that necessarily means much in the way of his involvement.
Right. I
But
haven't I haven't followed this super closely, but every time I check in, it leans more towards going against the woman he was with rather than him.
that's what
Um,
I have seen as well.
right. So it's definitely one of those. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where you know guilty until proven innocent, and even if you're proven innocent, people still try to
Yeah,
cancel you.
yeah, the allegation is all it takes.
Exactly. Yeah, the word allegations is all you need, especially in this a domestic violence allegation. Oh man,
Yeah,
like
Me Too movement. Yeah,
yeah, it's over
and
with.
I would like to say that is not trying to say that she did anything wrong or that this is a victim blaming situation or what. Like, we don't know what happened,
Right,
and I hope that he's innocent.
right.
Like, that's what I would like to be the answer, but I mean, it sounds like we still don't know yet. But yeah, everything that I'm hearing is that he is more innocent than not,
Yeah,
but I
and
also don't know exactly what the deal is.
right. Like, there's a video of the encounter for apparently like it got leaked of the like what happened and things of that nature. So it's still kind of I don't know. It's I feel like I need to do more research on it to know for sure. But again, every time I hear about it, it is a more leaning, almost like positively, but in a better outcome for Jonathan Majors than when it originally came out. But yeah, it is interesting that Marvel allegations before even knowing the conclusion of the allegations decide was thinking about changing the entire multiverse saga, which I'm sure they were already like, damn, we taking a couple L's here. Should we reconsider? And then this kind of triggered it.
And again, I don't know if I said this in our first review, but I mean, we'll talk about it in our last one. I kind of wonder if Loki had to pivot based on this,
Hmm.
because that had a lot, that was a huge, you
Yeah,
know,
it was.
part of it. And so I'm wondering if, similar to Black Panther, I'm wondering if the Loki that we're getting now was the original plan.
Right, right. That's definitely. I mean, it definitely could have changed. I'm pretty sure it probably did, honestly, because it was like in the thick of it when they were filming, and they were in the thick of keeping. They were continued to take L's after L after L, and these shows weren't received well. So I'm sure they were like, I'm sure we could tweak some things, maybe not connect things as much, things of that nature. So okay, number 11. I'm sure you will enjoy this one. Kang the Conqueror was almost replaced with Doctor Doom.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I do really like Victor Von Doom. He's my favorite Marvel villain, and I don't like the idea of Doctor Doom with no Fantastic Four at all. Like
right.
that's like we need to see a Fantastic Four if we're going to see a Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Even though I quite frankly don't give a damn about the Fantastic Four. That's still, you know,
Right.
that's it just needs to happen. I wonder what direction they would go with Victor Von Doom.
Mhm.
Um, I yeah, I really like Doom. Like
Yeah.
he's very good.
I I think I think they're gonna do the Kang, um, the Kang Dynasty storyline, but I think immediately after that, I think we're getting a Fantastic Four movie. I want to say next year. I want to say, and so that will lead into Doom being the next big villain after Kang, I believe, because I think that'll let them kind of ground things again. Obviously, Doom isn't like some, he has powers. He's done some wild stuff, but it kind of grounds things to where you're not multiversal. It's
Yeah, like
just
Doom has won before.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's killed Thanos. You know what I mean? So he's omnipotent, but he's also grounded enough to where you could do a story about just Latveria and him protecting his, you know what I mean, his country, and very grounded. You can't do a grounded story with Kang. It got to be crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to when we get to that like Doom saga. That's gonna be crazy, especially if they get like a good actor who can really deliver, like it really like just go on some soliloquy type. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering how old they're gonna go for Doom. Uh
Right.
because off the top of my head, I have an idea of who I might want to play Doom, but I'm gonna wait to see what happens.
Okay. All right. We'll reveal that later. Um, Number 10, Loki season two's finale will set up Kang as Avengers 5 villain. So the finale for season two of Loki will set up Kang as the big villain in Avengers 5. We
Okay.
kind of figured that out, but
Yeah, like I don't think
um,
that's news.
yeah, I think this maybe just confirmed what at least what the finale was going to do. We at least already knew, but Kang was going to be the big villain. I
But I
think
will
Avengers
say
5.
this news is good in that
Yeah,
they're not going to, at least Kang is still
around. Yeah,
not, yeah, he's not getting just replaced.
right.
Even though, those two things, like what everything we've talked about so far contradicts that,
Yeah,
because you said that they were thinking about rewriting the multiversal situation due to the allegations, and then you also said that they were thinking about replacing him with Victor Von Doom due to the allegations, and now they're saying no, we're setting him up, like it's happening, we're doing it. And
right.
it's like, well, okay, what is it, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think what we got from the article is they were thinking about changing some things, and now they're in the point where they're still working on some things, but they kind of have there's some things like I think they know they're gonna probably go with the Doom game plan. The multiverse thing, I think they're gonna kind of just spot duct tape that thing together and just get it over with, and then start something new. And we'll kind of talk about that later as well with the other news. But okay, that sets us up for the Loki season 2 finale, at least something to expect. This next one's interesting. So, number 9, Shang-Chi and the Eternals MCU debuts were experiments for the MCU. Shang-Chi and the Eternals have been absent in the MCU since their debut. So essentially, it was sort of a Guardians of the Galaxy level. Let's throw this out there and see if it hits.
Okay.
Now, some would say it was an epic failure. Some would say Shang-Chi is a top 10 MCU movie. Um, you know,
I will say, uh, epic failure for the Eternals. That is accurate.
yeah,
It was not good at all.
right.
I really enjoyed Shang-Chi, at least most of it.
Hmm.
There I have notes, of course, but
Right.
generally speaking, I really enjoyed what Shang-Chi gave us. I enjoyed him as the character. I enjoyed everybody that we saw to some degree. I think that he would be a valuable addition to the MCU into the larger group movies.
Hmm.
I don't feel that way about the Eternals.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think most people, well, I didn't say most, because some people like the Eternals. I agree with you is the fact that Eternals is, you could tell that was an experiment. That looked like that wasn't even in the MCU universe, right?
Yeah,
Shang-Chi brought some positive, it brought some things. It brought some very positive, brought a little more action, a little more, hand-to-hand combat, things of that nature. We all know the third act. We have some notes for the third act.
indeed.
However, up until that point, it was killing. It was killing. And it was funny. It had a lot of funny moments. So
It
I could
did
see,
everything that an MCU movie does, honestly.
yeah, it really did. It
Like,
followed the formula. It followed the
yeah,
formula. Um, I think though, like, and I'm hoping that they bring up Shang-Chi. It sounds like that's the plans, but I hope Shang-Chi gets more, ingrained in the
yeah.
MCU,
I hope he gets
starts,
some more minutes.
yeah, because
I want him to get some more
is
minutes.
isn't he in New York? Or am I
He's in
tripping?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. That's right. So it's like he might run into She-Hulk. What is She-Hulk? Where is she at?
Hmm.
I want to say she's in San Fran, but I may be wrong on that. Maybe
I
LA.
I don't know where she is now
Okay.
that I think about it.
Okay. She
Um,
might be somewhere else. I want to say she's San Francisco, but someone correct us if you have that on hand. But yeah, like I just want to see him in the MCU verse, speaking to Daredevil, chopping it up with, a few different characters at once, and not just in the Shang-Chi universe, which just sounds cool. It is cool, but it's not, I want to see him like a full fleshed out character.
thinking about it, I think you're right. I think she's in LA.
Okay. Gotcha. I think you're right. But yeah, like just him with other characters, I think would be good to get him in. And he's pretty, and like the actor's funny, so I think that would, he has the ability to be funny.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Number 8. This one kind of minor news, but it is interesting with the movie about to come out. The Marvels went through 4 weeks of reshoots and director trouble.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, this says set to premiere,
all right, miss.
marking the return of, what does it say? However, the project hasn't been without its share of behind the scenes drama. The Marvels underwent 4 weeks to bring to coerce a very tangled storyline. Cost up to 250 million to produce. And the director curiously moved on to another project, Hedda, months before post production on the Marvels was finished, which may spell bad news for the upcoming adventure. So this is directed by a black woman. Shout out to her. However,
Now or that's the person who left.
that's the person. So basically, she directed the movie, but she went on to a different movie before the movie was. Sounds like the movie was in post production, and then she went to a different movie. Usually, director sees it from beginning to end,
Okay.
then moves on. So, and I think I mentioned this in one of our episodes where Kevin Feige I didn't like the way he kind of undercut her and was like, "Hey, she was trying to do too much. She was trying to get too comic booky, so I had to like, you
Reel
know."
her in.
reel her in. And I was just like, whoa, your first black woman director, you saying stuff like that? Like, relax. Like, what are you doing? So stuff like this is the stuff that why directors don't really love working with the MCU that much because it's like I can't really do my thing with him over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Now if you're, you know, Coogler, if you're a big time director, they leave you the hell alone. But, newer ones, they watch you over your shoulder. So what do you think about this one?
Um, you know, I'm excited for the Marvels,
Same.
but I know a lot of people who are not,
Right.
and this doesn't help.
Right.
So I I don't really have feelings until we see the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess there being some turbulence isn't a shock,
Right.
but I wish there wasn't.
No, I agree. It's unfortunate because I'm rooting for the director. I'm rooting for this movie. I like, Brie Larson. We've talked about it at length. Not our
Yeah.
favorite.
Not great, but
Not our favorite. But the other two actors, Miss Marvel and what I
Monica.
always forget, Monica, but her
Photon?
superhero name. What's
Is
her
she going
superhero?
by Photon in
I
this?
want to say eventually she will go by Photon, but right now she
Spectrum?
doesn't. Is this? I want to. Every time I feel like I always guess Spectrum and got it wrong, so I think it is Photon.
Okay, I call her Monica because I don't know which name she's
Right.
using.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
she's Monica Rambeau until
Yeah.
I hear something. But yeah, like
Right.
as far as superhero names, I think I know her as Photon, but I think she also goes by Spectrum, and I'm sure that there's another list of names that she has too. But I
Yeah.
call her Monica Rambeau.
But I'm hoping this is sort of like with Captain Marvel, where it was like expectations weren't, through the roof. It was. I will say at that time, Captain Marvel came out after Infinity War, so the hype was as big as it ever could be. So people was just going to any MCU movie because they know it'd be good. Where this isn't the case anymore, but I'm hoping it hits.
I also hope it
Hoping.
hits.
Yeah.
Like I want this to be good. And while the Miss Marvel show wasn't great, I really like her,
Same.
and I like everybody around her.
Right. The
So
family, yeah.
yeah, like I hope we see that entire cast again
Same.
in
Agreed.
this. So
Okay, number 7. Marvel Studios rushed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
shocker.
Yeah, I know. It says the Marvels has been the subject of several release date pushbacks, and one of those saw the project swap places with Ant-Man and the Wasp. This meant that Peyton Reed's Ant-Man sequel was brought forward by several months, as it was deemed further along than the Marvels, but it put unnecessary pressure on VFX artists and those working on the post-production. Unfortunately, this led to many scenes in Ant-Man and the Wasp simply lacking the quality that viewers had come to expect from Marvel Studios, culminating in a slew of criticisms aimed at the studio.
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
And maybe that's them just trying to explain away a bad movie.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, if that's the case, then that's we could see that.
Yeah, definitely.
I am surprised that this didn't come out earlier as far as like maintaining a positive reputation.
Right.
But it also could be a situation where they didn't want to, answer for, well, then why'd you rush it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I mean, yeah, I feel like the last couple of years, just like dates wise and like figuring out all that stuff, it just feels like they don't have a clear plan, a clear through line. They're kind of just, oh, okay, this is ready. Okay, I'm gonna move that in front of that. Whereas like back in the, I say back in the day, 2010s, it was like, nah, this is coming this is coming this.
And
It's
they
all
weren't
flowing
doing
in one direction.
as much at a time, and they weren't, there weren't so many things in the air, and
right.
It was a much smaller operation then. So
right. All right, number 6, VFX on WandaVision and She-Hulk were created after their premieres.
What does that mean?
I know. So She-Hulk's visuals received backlash before release. Okay. The issues in Marvel Studios' recent history haven't been focused on the studio's feature films, as several projects created for Disney Plus has also suffered due to the increase in content production and behind-the-scenes problems. Notably, Variety points out that Phase 4 of WandaVision and She-Hulk as 2 prime examples, noting that some of the visual effects for both projects were inserted into the series after they had debuted on Disney Plus, meaning there were changes even while the shows were being released. This is only one symptom of a logjam and culminated in a departure of longtime Marvel Studios executive Victoria Alonso. So we're fixing. That's
Okay.
like, I mean, in our world, putting out code and then fixing it on the back end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
After
sound
it's
like
already
some hot
released.
fixes.
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
exactly. So
yeah,
it's like,
they put out a product that wasn't ready,
exactly,
and yeah, they had to do some hot fixes before people started seeing it.
yeah, which is crazy to me. Like, I'm not releasing nothing until
Yeah, like y'all just gonna have to be mad that it got pushed. But
exactly,
yeah, like the idea of putting out something that is incomplete or that isn't done or that like that's that like studio nonsense.
yeah,
And I will say that is not terribly surprising because I think that looking at the media company as a tech company, I feel like there are a lot of situations where there are, rushed deadlines, unreasonable expectations, and, it's just they say like we don't care about what you have going on or your life, uh get it done. And
yeah,
this is the deadline, period. Even if that
facts,
deadline is unrealistic, even if people come to them and say, hey, that's not feasible, we don't care. Don't
right,
sleep. Don't waste time sleeping. Get it done.
right. No, it's facts. I mean, I'm sure they had them VFX artists in there all day, all night. They had
Yeah.
another shift coming in late at night. Like, I bet you
They may
Disney
have,
execs was like, "Get it done. I
yeah,
don't
they
care."
may have like brought in contract people to do
Yeah,
stuff. Like I'm sure that yeah, like there were rushed and unreasonable, unrealistic deadlines, and I don't think that is limited to here because I've heard of video games having that same problem.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I've seen tech companies have that same problem.
Right.
So yeah, like this is US capitalism. Like that's
Facts.
what's happening.
Right.
People are being, stressed out and put in situations where the people asking for the deadlines aren't doing shit. They're
Exactly.
just yelling at people about deadlines.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
And they're
the other
like,
people.
well, we promised the people that it would be out, so get it done. And it's like, well, then why did you do that?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you
Like
didn't
you should
consult me
Yeah,
when
you
you
should have came to
set that
me
date.
and said, how long is this going to take? And then I could have given you an answer, and then it would have been like, all right, cool. But they're like, we need it by this day. And they'd be like, that's not possible. And they're like, make it possible.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'll just, just put my entire life on pause to
Right. I don't have.
work until I, don't have fingers anymore. That's fine.
All right, number 5. She-Hulk's first transformation originally wasn't seen until episode 8. She-Hulk did appear originally much earlier once the series came out. Um
So
influenced
so you're saying to me that the original plan was for her not to change into She-Hulk until the last episode of She-Hulk?
That is correct. It says this initial transformation was showcased in the premiere, but Variety reports that this wasn't the original plan. In fact, the original She-Hulk wouldn't have seen her first transformation until episode 8. The show's so I guess it was 9 episodes. Penultimate episode. This was a serious lack of script oversight in Marvel Studios that led to VFX teams fixing the problem in post production, moving the scene forward to the series premiere. That
Uh,
is piss poor.
yeah, I I'm glad that they decided to change their minds.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a joke when you think about it. It's like, wait, what? Like, what are we doing here? You know,
Exactly. Like what are we doing here?
like we have She-Hulk. We're all here to see the She-Hulk, but
Yeah, but it's just going to be Jennifer this entire time,
yeah, right,
which is okay. I mean, I like Jennifer. She was cool, she was great, but yeah, no, the show's called She-Hulk,
exactly,
and if we don't see She-Hulk in 7 episodes of a
right,
show called She-Hulk, you know, some people are going to have a problem with that. Now, some people had a problem with the show anyway.
exactly, facts. They had other
So,
issues,
yeah,
but
but it's fine. Again, I'm glad that they made the change because She-Hulk wasn't terrible to me.
right,
It wasn't the best show we've seen, but I mean, I went in knowing it was a courtroom comedy, and good. It was in fact a sitcom, so I think they did all right. But yeah, I'm glad that we saw her as much as we did as She-Hulk, because
Same.
if we didn't, then that would have been strange.
Facts. Facts. All right. Number 4. Blade almost wasn't the star of his MCU debut. Okay.
The fuck does that mean?
I know, right? One project who has had more tumultuous production period than most other Marvel projects was Blade, which is set to star Academy Award winner Mahershala
Ali.
As the Blade. Blade officially was announced by Kevin Feige in 2019, but since then the project has gone through 2 directors, 5 writers, a production shutdown shortly before filming, and the worries that Ali might walk. Variety reports at one point Blade was set to be a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons, with Blade himself not taking the starring spot. Evidently, this needed changing, as Ali must be the star of his official MCU debut. Not sure who.
I have a lot of questions, but
Same.
Questions that we don't have answers to.
Right.
I mean, just get Ryan Coogler to do it and be done.
Facts.
Ryan Coogler has shown us that he can get it done. So
I'm all for women, but this is not is about
and maybe the second Black Panther is why they were going to do that. Right. Because I did say one of the things I appreciate is the fact that we had a movie that was led by Black women in the aftermath of losing Black men. Like, that is absolutely a thing that happens in real life, but that's not what Blade needs to be.
Facts. And my thing is, like, in the comic books, Blade's daughter is doing really well, but that's future. That's Blade 2. That's Blade 3. Like, I want to see Blade. You know what I mean?
We have not seen Blade yet. Give Mahershala his money. Give him his time on script. Like, let Mahershala cook.
Yeah. He has so many cool stories. Like, it's wild to me.
Yeah, and because that's one of the things I'm excited about. As much as there are some people or some characters that recasting, is just unthinkable.
Right.
Wolverine is a really good example.
Right.
But Blade is kind of the OG of that. Like, but when because they had been talking about who might be the new Blade, but when they said Mahershala, I was like, I'm about that.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes was like, bet. Yeah, I like that.
Yes, let Mahershala cook.
Yep.
And give him some time. Yeah, let him cook. That's it.
It's very simple. Let him get about 3, 4, 5 action scenes and keep it pushing. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't get it. All right, number 3. There have been talks to bring back the original Avengers. So
all of them?
Yeah, none of these issues went unnoticed at Marvel Studios, with Disney Bob Iger even noting that the increase in content Disney Plus focused attention. This led to some major discussions being had at Marvel Studios, including one which talked about resurrecting, reuniting the original Avengers team. This would have involved bringing Robert Downey and Scarlett Johansson back from the dead, and it wouldn't be cheap to bring these high-profile stars back. While Marvel Studios hasn't committed to this idea, this would be a surefire way to reignite the passion of the MCU.
So I noticed your boy was not named. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I mean, I guess he's not dead, but yes, he was not named. Apparently, this is some side news. Apparently, old man Cap is going to be in the Captain America 4. So I'm excited for that. But this whole premise of bringing back the OGs, I mean, obviously, we all would love that, but I just, for story's sake, I'm like, this is kind of weird. Feels comic booky.
I don't like it from a narrative standpoint.
Same.
I am fine with it as far as, like, obviously there's a Robert Downey Jr. sized hole that they haven't really figured out. Right. And the passing of Chadwick Boseman made that worse.
Yeah.
So I see how we got here, but I think we need another plan. This is the situation where he's let him have peace. Like, let him be dead.
No, I agree. There's ways around it. I mean, obviously in the comic books, he was an AI for Ironheart. Like there's ways around it. I think MCU got a little cocky in the way they finished in game. They were like, "Oh yeah, we'll be fine. Hey guys, you can get up out of here. We appreciate your work." And then it's like in the comic books, like a lot of times they have these older guys transition the new people in, and that's what I think they should have did. They should have had Cap transition in the new people. You know, Hawkeye, like kind of like the Hawkeye situation.
Yeah. And it could be, I think that it was a lot of like real life, them wanting to be done. Like, I think it was a lot of that too. So I think they were written out of the stories because the actors were like, I'm done. Because Hemsworth is like, nah, keep me on payroll.
Yeah. Run this back. Give me that max contract and run it back.
Yeah. But everybody else was like, no, I want to do other things. And so I think that that's because I think that if the MCU could have kept all of them, they absolutely would have.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I do think though, I think if you're on the side of this happening, you kind of go, okay, Robert Downey Jr. since he's done it. Now I will say the Oppenheimer performance, my man might win an Oscar. So it's like, okay, I don't know if you're getting him back. Chris Evans, I mean, what has he done since? I don't know. Right? Yep. So you know what I mean?
There was a writer's strike, and there was a lot, there was a lot happening that could have caused some like, oh, we had plans, but then things changed.
Right. So I mean, we'll see. That's definitely an interesting one. Number 2, Marvel Studios plan to move away from majors after Ant-Man 3. It says circling back to majors.
Are we moving away from him or not? Like, what are we doing? Like, figure it out.
Right. Variety reported that Marvel Studios is playing a wait and see game following Major's arrest, pending a verdict from a trial before deciding the actor's future. Nevertheless, this is the disappointing reception and performance of Ant-Man and the Wasp led to Marvel Studios having serious discussions about changing the multiverse saga, regardless of Major's legal issues. The fact that Quantumania didn't land as well as Marvel Studios hoped means that future projects featuring Kang may follow suit, which will surely be a worry at the studio. Kind of touched on the last one, so
they are thinking about changing the whole thing. They are absolutely setting up Kang at the end of Loki, which is already done.
Right.
They are also considering Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And they are holding Kang in limbo.
Right.
So they're not going to use Kang. They're going to replace Kang. They are going to use Kang. And they have Kang on hold all at the same time.
Yeah, I guess that's what that wait and see game is kind of what it means. Like I think they're sort of like, we're gonna move this card forward. We're gonna be a neutral, and then if anything comes out of this like in a negative way, we can stop, kick him out, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, not a good plan at all. That's why I'm hoping
it's not a plan. Like,
no, it isn't. Really,
they just said like these are all of the options, and they're all on the table.
Yeah.
In no particular order, it feels like.
It's facts. All right, this last one. Jordan was here. He would be excited about this one. This would be interesting. All right. Number 1, Marvel Studios has started to speak to the X-Men writers. So, the X-Men movie is expected in the MCU in Phase 7. So, when we're old and gray. In September article by Deadline, it was reported that Marvel Studios would soon be meeting with writers to hear pitches for the X-Men project. This was the first major development for the MCU's mutant team since 2019. Variety reports that this process has already begun, noting that Marvel has started talking to writers about bringing the X-Men into the MCU fold. This otherwise damning report ends with a message of hope. With teams such as the X-Men and the Fantastic Four soon rebooting the MCU, there's hope that the franchise will recover and Marvel Studios will be back on top. So, the process is starting with the X-Men, and it sounds like they got big things ready for them dudes. You know what I mean?
So they are supposed to be coming out with an X-Men animated series that is based on the series from the 90s, correct?
Yeah, 97. Yep.
Okay. So that was that was my understanding of like what was going to start, what was going to kick us off, what was going to like jump us in, and what was going to get the X-Men in the MCU on the radar, like in the world.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yeah, so I think 97 is a separate project. Like I think that's going to be separated. Like that's kind of in its own canon from the 90s show. They're going to keep it in that canon. Where this is going to kind of be its own thing, brand new start, brand new.
Okay, because I didn't think that the MCU was doing that. I thought that the MCU wanted one, like similar to Star Wars, they wanted everything to be cohesive and one contained story where all of it exists in the same place, other than What If. And
Right, yeah.
so, yeah, like I
Like,
was under the impression that like these X-Men would absolutely exist in the MCU world.
well, yeah, so, since it being an animated series, I think they're going to separate it. And then obviously when they do the live action X-Men, Fantastic Four, they're all going to be in this current universe. It's just,
Okay.
I think X-Men 97 is kind of like a love project. Everybody loved the show. They want to bring it back for one last time. And I think they can try some stuff with that animated series that maybe they can translate over to MCU. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see. I mean, obviously they got to hit on these two. You don't hit on these two, it's time to turn off the lights. Yeah, it's time to pack it up.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
We knew that they were going to do the X-Men eventually, so I don't know if this is really news. I guess the
right.
news is the fact that like it's official, like they're actually going to do it, but like we knew they were going to do it, so I guess now we have a date.
Yeah, we have a phase 7. That's kind of the biggest news, I guess, from it.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little disappointed that none of this was about Deadpool.
Yeah, there've been not great reports about Deadpool that it might have to get pushed back, and there's some stuff going on, but you know that's normal rumor stuff. So we'll see. But hopefully, there's a trailer coming in the next couple of months. We'll see. But
If there is, I won't see it. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, man, that is the 12 biggest takeaways from that variety article. Obviously, it gives you a little behind the scenes lens. A few of these things we kind of already knew. A few of them are definitely interesting and kind of brand new. But yeah, man. Spenser, any last thoughts?
This news did not make me any more excited about what the MCU has coming up, to be honest.
Right.
Like this, I'm not gonna say that I'm disappointed because I didn't necessarily have expectations for this news, but my feelings have not been changed at all. Like I don't have any more
Right.
hope. I don't have any less hope. I'm very in the same place, which is kind of a are we done? Like
Yeah.
is it over?
Right.
Are we on that decline that like most sitcoms go through where like you were on a high, the show was perfect, everything was great, and then somebody leaves and there's just a sharp drop off in quality?
Right.
Is the MCU in that right now?
Right.
And none of this news really changed that question or gave me answers in one way or the other about that question.
I agree. I am a little intrigued. I'm definitely hopeful for the Doom news. At least the Doom is on the mind, which I like. I like that. You know what I mean? I like that they're thinking about even the originals. Okay, all right, cool. They're bringing those people back. All that little stuff is kind of cool. So definitely interesting to see. But definitely hit us up on the socials if you have any thoughts on any of this stuff. We'll definitely down to speak about it and go back and forth about it. So until then, we out.
Excellent meeting, sirs, exquisite as always. The briefing is now adjourned.